All right, man, peace. So, brothers, this is going to be volume 2 in a series that I started a very long time ago called Are You Addicted to Sex? And I believe that volume 1 was featuring Mr. Kevin Spacey. This edition is going to be featuring the star pitcher of the Pittsburgh Pirates by the name of Felipe Vazquez. And the reason why I want to make this video is because, look, I try to be as transparent with you brothers as possible. We all understand that sex is a wonderful, beautiful thing. We all enjoy it. It's great. The woman's body is beautiful. But one thing that we have to understand, and I'm honing this video in on a lot of you younger brothers who are the ages of 13 to 18 years old, because I expect older cats to know better. For those of you who don't know, Mr. Felipe Vazquez, once again, he's a star pitcher of the Pittsburgh Pirates. He is a Major League Baseball player, and he got caught up in a sex scandal with a 13-year-old girl who's now about to be 15 years old. So that means that the affair started somewhere around 2 years ago or so. Supposedly they were texting one another, agreed to meet up, and they engaged in intercourse. As we all know, that is illegal in this country to have intercourse with a girl that's 13 years old. What we also know is that both males and females in Western society are always taught to lead with their baser nature, meaning let everything fly. Whatever you feel, just do it. That's the credo of one of the most famous sports apparel companies in the world, Nike. Just do it. And as I've stated, all that maxim is a takeoff of the Aleister Crowley slogan of do what thou wilt, i.e. do whatever you want. Love is the law. The law is love. It's in veneration of Heru or Horus, aka Bacchus or Tammuz. Engage in whatever endeavor is going to make you happy at that moment. And for those of you cats out there who read and study the scriptures, you know that in the ancient world, it was okay to become a spouse to a young female at 13, even 12 years old. In the case of Isaac and Rebekah, of course, Isaac being one of the great patriarchs, Rebekah was around 12 to 13 years old when he became engaged to her. When we read about Mary in the Gospels, she was approximately 14 years old when she became impregnated by Joseph with Christ. So a lot of cats like to reflect back on those times and apply them to today, and we cannot do that. We have to contextualize everything, and if we don't do that, we're being extremely irresponsible. The reason why I say that is because our words have power. And when I say our words, I'm talking about every single person. Whatever idea you allow to flow forth from your mouth is going to have a reverberation. It's going to have a trickle-down effect to whoever chooses to listen to you. I did a video a very long time ago pertaining to Mr. Scottie Pippen, the former superstar basketball player of the Chicago Bulls. He went through a very messy divorce with his ex-wife. And in that video, I stated something along the lines of, because I was directing a message to a lot of the younger cats, like I do in videos where the topic revolves around relationships or quote-unquote love or quote-unquote in love per se. And I was saying that when you deal with a female of legal age, and I stated 18 years old, and of course I was juxtaposing it to the ancient world, there was a dude who came into the comments and he got very upset with me because there are many people out there who are very ardent in their beliefs that a woman reaches her age where you can engage in a relationship with her at 12 or 13 years old, because that's what's done in many of the cultures around the world. And that's what's stipulated in the scriptures, that you can deal with a woman at that age. But once again, we have to know what time that we're living in. Number one, it's illegal. Number two, these young girls today are not raised to be wives. They're raised to be whores. They're raised to be little microcosms of the mother goddess, aka the quote unquote whore of Babylon. And I don't say that to demean or denigrate, it's just the truth. So for you cats out there who are 13 to 18 years old, this story is controversial because Felipe Vazquez is a grown-ass man. But also understand that if you're 13 years old and a 13-year-old girl hits on you and acts as if she wants to be intimate with you, you can suffer the same downfall as Felipe Vazquez. I hope that you understand that. If you're 15 years old and a 16-year-old hits on you and claims that she knows what she's doing and claims that you should have no fears and no worries, understand that the woman can turn on you at any time. And in most of these states, the age that a woman must reach for sex to be allowable with her is anywhere from 16 to 18 years old. So that's why in the Scottie Pippen video, I stated 18 years old. We have to understand where we're at and what time we're living in. And at the end of the day, most of these women, once again, they're not raised with an understanding of what their role is. So we do have to walk circumspectly when it comes to that issue and every issue, because at the end of the day, we have to understand where we're at. But just getting back to Mr. Felipe Vazquez, do I think that he's finished when it comes to the judicial procedures? Who knows? Right now we're in the quote-unquote Me Too era, so that might look to make an example out of him. Right now we're in the quote-unquote Me Too era, so they may look to make an example out of him. Either way, it's very clear that he has an issue. There's a term for someone who prefers to sleep with pubescent girls or girls who are just out of puberty. I believe that it's called an hebephile. That's the term that would be applied to someone like an R. Kelly. That's a man who prefers females 12, 13, or 14 years old. So anyway, they're going to talk about it. I'm going to chime in.
A huge star joining us in a little bit. Warren Moon's going to be here, but we got to start with the big news of the day. A big Major League Baseball star, one of the best pitchers in Major League Baseball, arrested, accused of trying to solicit a 13-year-old girl for sex. This is a disgusting story with disgusting charges.
Once again, brothers, a lot of these females will try to hit on you. And when I say these females, I'm talking about 14, 15 years old. They're very fast. It's nothing new. As I always state, females are far more sexual than men. They are more sexual in their nature than men are. There's no doubt about that. They become more curious about the energy that they emit as sexual creatures at a younger age than men are. Of course, both genders are curious, but the woman, for the most part, likes to advance her sexual nature ahead of her more than men do. What do I mean by that? They like to sexualize themselves. In any society where the woman is given freedom, the first thing that she's going to do is take off as many clothes as possible, depending on her body type. That's just how they roll. So this nonsense about how men have objectified women, nothing could be further from the truth. Of course, when men were in power and they had the ability to take certain types of women and showcase them, that's what they would do. But overall, especially in ancient cultures, it was much more fashionable for men to require that their women be covered up because that was their property.
He's been caught. According to officials, his tattoos led to his arrest. The guy we're talking about is Felipe Vazquez. He's the closer for the Pittsburgh Pirates. Babcock, give me a little bit of information about this guy.
Two-time All-Star who has absolutely electric stuff. This guy is like a strikeout machine. One of the best relief pitchers in all of baseball.
He's in the middle of a 4-year, $22.5 million contract with the Pirates. But this morning, Tuesday morning in Pittsburgh, he was arrested on charges of soliciting a child for unlawful sexual conduct and giving obscene material to a minor.
Now, from what I understand, just in reading about this case or this issue, it was mutual. The girl was as interested in pursuing a sexual relationship with him as he was with her. And in other societies, it would have been allowable. He could have just went to her father and said, I'm interested in your girl. She likes me. May I have her as my wife? And then they would have to negotiate what her dowry would be or how he would have to compensate her father. And that would be that. But in this society right here, they have very strict rules, codes, and laws. And at this point, the female had been so socially engineered. I'm not quite sure what a grown man would find appealing about a girl that age anyway. I mean, to be quite honest with you, a lot of 30-year-old chicks are not even that appealing. Just looking at their attitude, but that's a whole other issue.
Sexual conduct and giving obscene material to a minor. So officials say that Vazquez was attempting to have a sexual relationship with a girl who was 13 years old at the time. She's now 15, and here's how cops say he got busted. That he was sending photos and videos to this girl over the phone with the intention of setting up a sexual encounter with her. And in these photos and videos, which were explicit in nature, the girl's mother actually found her phone, saw the videos, contacted Felipe back and said, dude, she is a minor. What are you doing?
Are you sure that that's what happened? That the girl's mother, quote unquote, found her phone? Or did the girl start to get creeped out, run to her mother and say, this guy keeps bothering me? Or maybe possibly the girl left her phone out and there was something that was sexually suggestive there and the mother happened to ask her about it. But I don't think that the mother was doing any detective work or anything of that sort. Once again, brothers, especially you young men who are in junior high school or high school, tread very carefully with these young girls. Okay? Tread very carefully. Because the same sentence that Felipe Vazquez could potentially get, you could get, depending on the judge. Because in this time period that we're living in, they're taking the notions, whether they be false or truthful, of the woman extremely seriously.
enforcement and showed them what she had, and they were able to identify, this is from the affidavit that we have, unique and distinguishable tattoos on his arms. And so then they went to the internet and just typed in Felipe Vazquez and were able to match up the tattoos on his arms with the tattoos in these videos, and they arrested him Tuesday morning. So he's in custody right now. Bail has been revoked. The Pirates have placed him on the exempt list. I mean, this guy is in a world of trouble. And by the way, these felony charges that he's been charged with, 2 felony charges so far, each carry a 5-year prison sentence if convicted.
Yeah.
Brothers, look, none of us are perfect in life. We're all going to make little missteps. We all have issues that we have to improve upon, or if we can, perfect, so that we can become a better version or the best versions of ourselves. The reason why I call this series, Are You Addicted to Sex? Is because in order for you to be addicted to something or become addicted to something, it has to have a lot of allure for you. We all know, once again, sex can be like a drug. Why do people become addicted to drugs? Because it gives them a high. When you engage in intercourse, it releases certain hormones and chemicals in your body that make you feel like you're on a higher plane or on a higher level of existence. That's why people do it. That's why they enjoy it. It's a biochemical reaction. But when it starts to spiral out of control, we have to try to reel it in the best way that we can. That is why society sets up a framework of adjudication so that they can figure out what exactly is your issue and is it a crime. And I just don't want a lot of younger cats to get caught up believing that when you're out on a date with this young girl and y'all are at the movies or whatever, and she's trying to get freaky with you, that nothing can happen. Something can happen. Of course, the backdrop is a grown-ass man. He should have known better for a long time. I'm not quite sure if he's from America, but even if you're not, there are rules that are set up here so that you know it is not legal for you to try to have a relationship with a 13-year-old girl. What are you talking about on the phone with a 13-year-old girl? Nothing at all.
You're looking at not only his baseball career possibly being over here, but you're looking at him spending a good deal of his foreseeable future of his life behind bars here.
Behind bars in a situation inside prisons where these guys accused of crimes like this are treated in a very specific way. His life
Absolutely, he'll be classified as a chomo.
just went to crap. Very.
By chomo meaning child molester or rapist.
He doesn't even need to worry about his baseball career as much as he needs to worry about his life, because number one, even if, I mean, these charges, this is great. If officials have what they say they have, if they have these videos and they have the text messages, also they raided his apartment in Pittsburgh and they say they've seized computers and cell phones.
Of course, because they're trying to see if he has any photos of the young girl so that they could put some child pornography charges on him.
Have the evidence that they say they have, it's a wrap for this guy.
It seems pretty damning. In these situations, I always think to myself, how could this guy be in this situation when he's a handsome guy?
Pause.
Rich, he's a famous athlete. It doesn't make sense to me. Why?
Well, I wouldn't say that it doesn't make sense. Just because someone's in an affluent position does not mean that they cannot go overboard or off the cliff, especially when they're constantly being subjected to excess. When you're a professional athlete, you basically can have any woman that you want. After a while, they start to think that they're above the law. Some of us start to believe that we can get away with things that we really can't get away with and that we shouldn't be trying to get away with. And as you brothers who've been on my channel for a while know, I've always stated I have no idea why these professional athletes, why they're seriously dating anyone, much less getting married to a woman while they're in the sport that they're in. With all of these high-end escort services that are out here, aka Instagram models, why would you decide that you're going to run off with a 13-year-old unless you're just looking for the high of getting away with sleeping with a girl that young? That might be an orgasm within an orgasm for a dude like him. Just the fact that he's getting away with it, or in his mind getting away with it, sneaking around doing that type of shit. But once again, for you cats who are in high school, junior high school, please understand that you have to move with a certain amount of wisdom when you deal with these little broads out here.
Target a 13-year-old girl if that's what he actually did, but I guess this is sickness. It's just I can't comprehend it.
In a situation like this, when you're talking about an underage girl that's 13, it doesn't really have much to do with access. It has to do with a lot of times something that, you know, these guys are just sick, like you said, in a way.
Well, I think that the sickness can come from access. Right now, we're in the age of access. With the internet and smartphones, we basically can attain immediate gratification, immediate satisfaction whenever we want. That's one of the reasons why people are so unwilling to work on their relationships, because they can always turn to an alternative, whether it be alcohol, drugs, pornography, sex toys, dating sites, etc. It's a major issue, but it's really not going to get solved until this society goes all the way down the drain.
It's something that's very, very difficult to kind of come to terms with when you see it, man.
Yeah, the Pittsburgh Pirates have said they're taking the situation very seriously. They're looking into this as well. They say they learned about this all on Tuesday. They had no prior knowledge of this.
Yeah, right.
This is going to be a very interesting case moving forward to see how this develops, and we'll be covering all of it on TMZSports.com.
I promise you, the Pittsburgh PD contacted the Pittsburgh Pirates and let them know that one of their star players was under investigation. There's no way in the world that they just sprang this on the team. But anyway, peace.